All right, welcome. This begins the June 2015 decision meeting for Merdier's June internal letter in Oscar. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And let's begin with number one. We have a new name change. Welcome. This begins the June 2015 decision meeting for Merdier's June internal letter in Oscar. So we have a new name change in Inventian, changing an old name to be trained as an alternate. Basically, she's just using the last half of her original name. And in commentary, it looks like the name doesn't modify any of the elements, so we can use the grandfather clause. Since it looks like one of the elements, there was some trouble trying to document it. The Sufyan. So that might be the simplest way to go with this one. Is use the grandfather clause.
That looks good to go.
Good. My notes. Where'd my notes go? There's the notes. Okay. So just the grandfather clause on that one. And welcome, Guntram.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hi, Guntram.
Hello, Guntram.
Hello.
Just started, so.
Hello.
All right, so that one should be good to go. Number 2, Alina DeLacy is a new device. Azure Dove Volant means Adorist Argent, maintaining in its beak a stalk of wheat or amount more. We had some possible conflicts brought up in commentary.
I would definitely identify that as a dove, but it doesn't have the characteristic head tuck. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Is that I mean, like, there's no doubt it's a dove, especially because it has the piece of wheat in its beak, but it doesn't match the heraldic.
That is a really interesting conflict they called. I mean, this is a dove and that's a duck, and one's a sun and one's a mount, but I see where they're coming from.
Yeah, visually they're very close, but
I think it's clear that the piece of the wheat strand is obviously doesn't count for anything being maintained.
Well, and Basil brought up the there is a significant change between swan-shaped birds and regular-shaped birds.
Should be okay, should clear it.
And so,
Is a duck considered a swan-shaped bird because it really doesn't have the neck? It has a bill, but the primary difference between a dove and a duck when you're drawing them is the bill. I mean, this does not have the swan neck. It's not like a flamingo with the long legs and the long neck. So you're talking about the only real difference between the two is the bill. The wheat is not significant, as Bronwyn said, and there's a difference between the mount and the demi-sun, but I'm not sure that's sufficient either.
Well, the ducks and geese are included in the same category usually.
Yes, but I don't.
So it's not, but it's not a swan-shaped bird.
It's not a swan-shaped bird, and wouldn't you need to be at least a swan-shaped bird to count as equal?
This is one that I wouldn't feel comfortable about trying to make a decision on. I would advance this up because there is that fine line. Yes, it's a white bird volant. I don't think you would even notice much of a difference except the elongated neck from across the room, to be honest.
Now, you would notice the difference between a rayed demi-sun and a mount, visually. But
yes.
The bird is a question because the wheat is not going to make any difference. It's a maintained charge.
correct.
The dove does not have the characteristic head tuft that would make a little bit more difference between it and the duck. We might ought to kick that one upstairs and let Reese decide.
Yes, because while it might be technically a difference, then but the visual difference they may have a question about. So, and
if she wants a dove, see if we can add that small tuft or something.
Well, that should be easy enough to add.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as you have written permission.
As long as you've written permission and it's included in
I can contact the submitter and just see if that's important enough to her to do the little redraw, add a little tuft.
Because Lionheart's right. It should be blazoned as a generic bird if it doesn't have the tuft. Then you get into all kinds of things.
Okay, so we'll let Reese make a decision on that possible conflict. And then I'll contact the submitter and clear with her, that she wants to make it look like a period dove.
It's such a minor change to the graphic that it shouldn't. I can't seem to really.
Yeah, that should be simple enough. It would be definitely simple enough to change. So. Okay, so we'll make Reese make that decision on conflict. Let's see. Number 3, Anastasia Nicolini. New Italian name. We did find conflicts. The sources look good. There was a little mistypo with the link, but we can fix that. Yeah, those will give the corrected link there.
The name looks great.
But
They did their homework.
yep, nicely done. So we can send that one on up with the fixing of the documentation link. All right, number 4. Subname and device. Actually, and I just noticed this. This is actually on a badge field, so that should be a resub badge.
So was the device passed?
I don't think she ever tried to submit a device. She only ever wanted to submit a badge.
Okay.
Because what was returned was a badge.
The
Well,
badge.
it's listed as a recept device, but this is a badge.
Yeah, and like I said, I just saw that just now, so make that note.
My beautiful queen. In this competition, no one has ever grown so fast.
Well,
What was that? Was that the dove or the goose?
Here's a question for you. Is it a fieldless badge or is it sable? Is it supposed to be fieldless or argent?
it's supposed to be fieldless. If you look in the comments, I pulled from the actual form. It's supposed to be the blazon they have is fieldless on a fan or ribbed argent, a feather azure.
So
Okay.
was this a clerical error in processing
I
then?
think that was just a clerical error where they put sable instead of a fieldless.
Okay.
Instead of fieldless, yeah. That's
So
clearly a fieldless badge.
I was looking at something. Did I miss what the comment made about the resub device? The original submission was a badge as well?
Yes, that's correct. It was a badge, and in the comments, that the badge was what was returned. This submitter never actually had submitted a device, so it was
Yes.
just,
Well, that's because
Originally
they
the
want the
badge-
fieldless. They're going for the Mon style.
Yeah, originally the badge had a sable fan that was thought to be in conflict with an inverted scallop visually. So
I recall that.
They apparently just changed the whole thing to a fan work.
I've never been afraid of an audience, and I'm not going to start now.
I think I'm having trouble hearing some people.
I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem with that identifying that feather.
I had a little bit of trouble figuring out what it was at first. I thought it might be a feather, but kind of had to go to the blazon to verify that.
It almost reads more like a rune.
Or, yeah, it almost looks like a runestone. You're right. There's not much of a quill showing at the bottom.
If the quill was white as well as the blue instead of white like the veining, I think it would have been more easily to identify. But I actually knew it was a feather when I looked at it.
Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble, so it could just be maybe an artist note that we had. Let's see. And I believe we didn't have conflicts with the badge. And we had Basil offer a reblazon, not blazoning the ribs, where it just say fearless on a fan or a feather azure. Which it is a small detail, so
Well, I don't see much difference between doing that and having a solid, if it were like a black feather and using a silver pen, just to distinguish detailing.
no, I was actually talking about the fan. Whether or not we want to blazon the ribbed fan. But I'm not sure.
Sorry.
It's a fan that they're talking about.
Because I guess the lower portion of the sticks that are sticking out are not
Sorry,
colored.
I was thinking ribs on the feather.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that could work too. It's also argent, so. But seeing as we, Basil was saying we don't blazon a fan, usually it's ribbed, and probably just leave it off of the blazon.
Also, you don't generally the veining or whatever in the detailing, interior detailing in a feather probably wouldn't normally be blazoned either.
No. So I'm thinking.
So it would be fieldless on a fan or a feather azure.
Yes, I concur.
I do too.
And I will probably try and Photoshop lighten up the color copy because it's scanned, or at least it's scanned in orange. So
Yeah.
try and make it a little more yellowy. And for the name, Snuka Yumi.
I was glad to see Sylvek posted on that.
Yes, me too.
I was like, someone get Sylvek. Was
Please.
going through my mind. I was like, please. And I was unsure if I actually had my mic muted or not, but I linked Miss Holmes' fan page in the chat section.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So
yeah, what Sylvek said.
Yeah. So I feel like
she wrote the book.
Yeah. Yeah. So the name should be good. We'll just leave the apostrophe. She was saying it was optional, so we'll just leave it and let Laurel make that final decision. Alrighty. So, okay, so both of these should go up. I'm going to change that blazon to be fieldless on a fan or a feather azure with an artist note to make that feather a little clearer, but I think an artist note should just suffice on that. And send those both up. Okay. Number 5, Erker Galti Hrafsnithan has 2 new badges here.
Flag of Gondor.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Has he read The Lord of the Rings yet?
Probably.
Yeah, he's clear by changing the colors. He's got a DC for the field and a DC for the tree.
I know, but anytime that you have a tree out there, you're going to sit there and people are going to comment that this is Gondor.
Yeah, some people might. Just like some people might comment every time they see frogs that it looks like the arms of Satan.
Well, because it does look like the arms of Satan. Lucifer's a king. He gets arms.
I think it's best just to ignore that he even exists. But
Hey, let's look at
it's not time for theological debates.
You don't have to believe in him. He believes in you.
So I had a dead spot there for a second where I had no sound coming in, and then all of a sudden somebody screamed badge. So did I miss something?
Hey, let's look at the badge. I was trying to cover the awkwardness, so I failed at that. So.
No, the badge I actually like. It's I'm not exactly sure. When I first saw the mullet, I thought I saw a Star of David till I counted the points. So I personally don't have an issue with this one.
Think it looks good?
Yep.
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 Okay. I think I'm lagging.
Honey,
Sound's been a little spotty for me.
no squeaky ball while I'm doing here on the chat.
I agree with Green Anchor. The spears need to be blazoned as sable. On the next, on the second badge. Oh, I'm sorry. Jumping the gun.
Yeah, for the second badge, for Eriker, Blazon would be Fieldless 2, Boar Spears, and Saltier. Sable, overall Aborostat and Conturni Ore.
I concur with that, Blaze.
And no conflicts found on that one either. So both of those can go up if his badges look good.
I have to apologize that I didn't get on here and do any commenting before this on this letter. I don't know how I slipped up. That's my fault.
Okay.
Probably had something to do with planning an event.
You had, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yes. Okay, so now we've oh crap. Hold on. There we go. Now we have number 7, Gormlaith Egan Logbook, new device. For Pale Azure Invert, a pale pure imbriated Argent.
I'd like to see a little bit bolder fimbriation on that.
Yeah, because they're all kind of fusing together.
Mm-hmm. And we have a couple possible conflicts.
Dermond looks like it'd be a conflict.
Yeah, that's the one I think it is, because the other one, the courtesing, would give us a second DC, but for Dermond...
Actually, I believe Fimbriation does not give you a DC.
No, not Fimbriation.
We've got changing the tincture of the pale and the codices, but that's, I'm not sure you would get a DC or difference between fimbriation and courtesing either. Well, the courteses count as secondary charges though, and the fimbriation doesn't.
Yeah, so you're changing the color of the pale, and then you're
actually adding secondaries.
And then you're removing the codices.
Yes.
So for that one, I believe it would be clear. But the second one, Dermond, Weneal, Chevronelli, Ore, and Sable, a pale pure.
A pale offset pure. Yeah, because you've got a different field. It's for pale, Argent, and Ore. Am I looking at the right thing here? Pale Argent and Ore, a pale offset pure. Where's that? Am I missing the Chevronelli one?
That's the first one that Basil posted. He posted.
Oh, I see. Okay.
First. Mm-hmm. So there's the field, Chevronelli, Ore, and Sable that we're changing, but we still have the pure pale, and the fimbriation doesn't count. Although Chevronelli is such a different.
Yeah.
And 2 different colors. I just visually I have trouble seeing the conflict, but
visually, let me see here. Pale and green.
Actually, if anyone needs to see what Chevronelli looks like.
I don't know, but I am still trying to find where it says Chevronelli on here.
Oops. It's the very last comment by Basil on Oscar, and his first line says, "I believe there is a conflict," and then Dermond.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Sherman O'Neill, okay. Sherman O'Neill, orange have a pale for sure. Yeah, you wouldn't count the fimbriation, so the primaries are the same. The difference is field. And if Chevronelli is a field rather than well, okay. It's changes to the field. We have two changes to the field. One is the making of Chevronelli, and one is changing the tinctures. But can you count more than one change?
That's where my question is.
I think you only get one DC for changes to the field collectively. I think that may be where our problem lies.
I think so too.
So even though it's a huge visual difference,
Mm-hmm.
I think technically you may be right on that one.
So, yeah. Anyone else want to weigh in?
I concur that I see this as a conflict with that guy's name that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So unfortunately, we're going to have to make that a conflict, or turn it for conflict.
And suggest if they redraw a fimbriated pale that they fimbriated a little bolder.
Right. Okay. Number 8. Number 8 is Griffin Soward.
Who's sweared?
Wade.
Yeah.
Who's sweared?
Sweared.
He swears by it.
Swears it's good. We have new badge, and we did have just a little clerical error with the O and the S needed a space, which Adelaide gave us the registered when the name was registered. And I concur with Basil saying that blazon should be nant embowed, or describing the fish's position.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. They can always remove it at brief if they don't think it warrants that.
Yeah, blazons are a funny thing. They can be changed often. I have an issue with the emblazons because the line drawing does not match. The two drawings don't match. One has ermine, one does not.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't even see that until just now.
I gotta outline the ermine.
Yep.
Yeah, because the first one has no ermine on it.
Not at all.
Because I just blew it up to look at it. It has no ermine outlined or otherwise.
Yep.
Well, I think since we're using a black and white image regardless, it wouldn't be hard just to put them both being the same image.
True.
Just scan the one with the ermine twice and let it be, because they allow you to have ermine spots colored in, even in the line drawing.
Just out of curiosity.
Well, and we don't. And when I send up images to Laurel, I don't even send up a black and white image, so or a line drawing. So that'll work.
Just out of curiosity, this is
don't send
this is not a fieldless badge blank. It's got a solid outline.
Say that again.
I said just as a comment, this does not have a this badge submission has a solid outline. It was not done on a fieldless badge.
The standard badge
checkbox.
forms actually have a check box that you can put in to make it fieldless.
Okay, cool.
It's I don't know why they still have it. I mean, for the longest time I was doing that because I couldn't get my fieldless forms to work.
Okay. Just commenting, just in case it was a problem.
Gotcha. Well, that's easy enough to fix too, if it is a problem when I send up the images. So Okay, so we will just use the color version as the black and white version when sending it up. And we can add the embowed on the blazon, and if the wreath wants to take it out, but this one can get sent up.
Yeah, I was just looking at the badge form for Lantia. It says check here for a fieldless badge. So, yeah, you should make sure that box is checked.
Gotcha. All right, so moving on to number 9. Number 9 is Katya the Forthright. This is
That needs to be returned.
I'm sorry?
I said it needs to be returned.
It needs to be returned?
Yeah, only because Taryn's not here to defend his wife.
I was gonna say, you're good. It's a good thing Taryn's not here.
This is Taryn the Wayward's wife, so...
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just
So
wrong.
it shall not pass.
You shall not pass.
And okay, and then so Katya was Katya the Forthright without the W. Registered
Please.
Well, the name looks plausible. The different shifts from the A to the IA and to the JA.
Yeah, it's a different transliteration.
Yeah.
He had a hard time getting it done before because he didn't have the proper documentation for it. So they got done what they could. Now that they have the right documentation for the proper spelling that she wants, they wanted it changed.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
I have no problem with it.
And the person that helped them with documentation on this was Mistress Sophia LaRue.
Well, there's
You
not
want
going
to, you want to text him and tell him that we're returning it?
Do you want me to do that?
not really.
Go ahead,
can do it.
Antonio.
There's not likely to be a conflict because it would be with ourselves.
I say probably if this goes up to Laurel, Yehuda will probably comment on this since he's very good with Russian.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. And like Basil said, the Forthright is covered by the grandfather clause, so as in the documentation. So I suppose we'll let it go up.
You want me to text him and tell him it got returned?
Tell him it's just,
I just messaged him.
Okay.
He just got it.
well, there's some serious bribing going on here.
Why is it awful?
Pennon likes chocolate chip cookies.
Does she now?
Hey, Beacon likes almond cookies.
There we go.
I'm putting in for chocolate chip.
Okay, so that one is good to go. And we're on to number 10. Knut Bjornsson.
Knut Bjornsson.
And
Now, Gear Bassi does not have Bjornsson. It has Bjarnarsson, but it appears that they've documented Bjornsson of courses later on.
Yeah, it was
Gray
IGI. Now it's IGI 1643, so that's in that kind of gray area, but
But it's still
Still
316.
usable.
yeah.
And you've got it again in 1648. You're hitting Iceland.
Okay, Taryn bit He seems a little upset. So I told him, yes, it's good, but Pennon wants a dozen chocolate chip cookies.
Good boy.
Pennon is going to share, right?
His answer was, "This is not my joking face."
Aww.
If you're watching, Karen, we love you. Don't worry.
We've been watching you in the bit.
Okay, so and Frida gave us Knut closer to the late period documentation here, so to get a little closer to the last name, so
1558, and that does bring it within 100 years.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I think that works. All right, number 11. And that's Logan Guile.
Yes.
Interesting looking centaur.
Well, I tell you what, then that thing was rampant. He's fighting with all those, isn't he?
Yeah.
I say, whoever does your internal letter, they don't have to post pictures of the family search stuff. That is no copy.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times he does post like anything that's sent by the submitter. So if most likely the submitter did not know that and sent those images. So
Well, that can always be dropped out.
yeah, I won't.
Let Taryn know.
It just saves him a little bit of work and a little bit of scanning if he knows he doesn't have to scan that.
Will that require more chocolate chip cookies? We can keep penalizing him as long as he piles on the cookies.
There we go.
He's
I have to
learning
check my
names.
notes, but I'm willing to bet that that's the same documentation I sent him. I did
Probably.
not include scans. 'Cause I would have just sent him the links and not the scans themselves.
Yeah, he probably. Yeah, he's learning. Gotten him further than he's been in the past, what,
I will
20
take
years?
I'll take extra documentation over
Yeah,
documentation.
over nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I also said I wanted almond cookies, and he states that if you get chocolate chip, it's going to have X-lac chips, and if I ask for almond cookies, it's going to have almond cyanide.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
I guess he really wasn't joking.
Is it just me, or does the centaur look like he's sitting on the edge of the shield?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's filling the space.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Okay, so name documentation looks good, and we.
Are you telling me that Logan has just gotten around to registering his name?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Actually, Bronwyn, if you want a little history on that, it was originally returned in '92, thereabouts. The yes, dear, can I help you?
Here's my Tori. Hi, Tori.
I've got my earbuds in, so she can't hear you. But Alex says hi. Yes, it was returned, and if you look up the return, you will want to smack the computer and trying to hit the person from 20 years ago who was dumb enough to return something for such a stupid reason. It was a very well documentable name then, and it's a very well documented name now.
So who returned it?
You'd have to go look that up. I've slept too many times since I read it. But yeah, so basically we pulled out his documentation immediately and started the resubmission process. And especially since Taryn's been working as was working as his herald last year when he fought in Crown, and he's working on his device so that he can. Tori.
The return was 2 lines long, so I'll go ahead and read it. All the evidence is against Logan as a given name in period and does clearly show it as a surname. The submitter might consider one of the similar documented Gaelic given names, Lochan, Loan, Ogan, Logan, or Loakin.
So they're going with it being a Gaelic name as opposed to English.
Yeah, it was easy to document as in the English naming pool. Now, of course, I did say that a little bit sharply earlier. I guess I wasn't commenting in '92, so I do not actually recall. I wouldn't have any clue what the rules were back then.
No, I wasn't commenting that far back either.
Yeah, it was 91 April.
I had just gotten into the SCA in like '89.
Well, it's going in now.
Yeah,
I think he'll be extremely happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Good.
He had given up hopes and started to hate heralds.
Sometimes it just takes one
return.
Yeah. And I think we're good with the device. We do have a step from period pack just using a gore with another charge, but just the one, so. So I believe we can set up the device as well.
Right. John Marie points out that there's a significant change between the center and the dragonfly, so that would clear that.
Yes. Yeah. So that one will be good. Number 12, Sakurai Sakoku, Keiko. Resubmitted, again, that is a badge. I'm going to fuss with somebody.
I can see why they returned the original.
Yes. So this is a redesign. As your domestic rabbit salient argent within on a decrescent or a rice stalk laying along the curve of the crescent birch. Which is a clumsy blazon.
Jean Marie offers a pretty good one at the bottom.
Yes, I like that one. As you're within a decrescent or charged with a rice stalk vert, a rabbit salient argent.
I think that's much clearer because, for one thing, if the rice stalk was on the crescent, it would almost have to follow the curve of the crescent.
One would think. Now, this submitter has had several issues through all of their submissions from the last 3 years, and they, at least they got the name figured out, but this was the second attempt at the name that got submitted. But the device, they submit something entirely different each time instead of trying to tweak what needs to be worked with their original design. So they're really hard to help because they just keep doing something different.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
this is her third badge she submitted.
Yeah.
I think. I know that she had one before the Lotus.
So yeah.
Cherry Blossom, I can't remember.
Now, didn't there used to be a step from period practice for framing a charge with another charge? Is that still considered a step from period practice? Something like that. I guess that would be like,
I don't know.
it just kind of popped into my head for a second. I was looking at this.
What else off the top of my head?
But it would, even if it is, it would only be a step from jury practice. It wouldn't be.
Yeah, even if it was, it'd be the only one
It
in
would be
this
the
one.
only one.
So,
I don't see anything wrong with it stylistically, other than
we'll just use the Blasian that Jean-Marie. I like that Blasian better.
I think it's clearer.
Less clunky. And that brings us to our last one of the evening. Zahara bint al-Mu'allim, we submitted device.
Last but not least.
Last but not least, her name was registered February 2015. Her fess, Azure and Vert, all melody of 8 points or on a fess argent, a fox courant proper. This is right at the complexity limit, but we're still good. And appears to be conflict free.
She was just on here a minute ago. Where'd she go? She left?
Oh, she was having what she posted and already.
She's having connection problems.
Okay.
Yeah, she posted about it.
That was Betsy Sutherland, so.
Yeah.
Now, it is right at the complexity limit, but visually it's not complex. No, it's 8 points of complexity.
Yeah, it's right at, but it's not over, so.
Right, and visually it's just not that complex.
Yeah.
It's just got a lot
It's
of
funny how
colors.
that happens sometimes because, like, Raven's mom, Giovanna, her badge doesn't look complex, but it was right at the complexity limit as well.
This has limited charges, it's just that it has so many colors.
Yeah. But we have 3 checks on conflict, didn't find any, so I believe we're good to go on this one.
Yeah.
The complexity limit's not a hard limit anyway.
No.
No, we've argued one over before, so.
Sorry, it's Beth. I better answer it.
Nice.
Beth is
Alright.
not bad to the bone.
Huh?
His wife is not bad to the bone. She's an angel of a woman.
So that's our letter. Woohoo! That was kind of a nice break from 2 heavy letters that came before, but
Yeah. Nice short one.
yep, we have a couple things that we're gonna contact submitters on, but actually just one. And one return, I believe, is all we've got this time around. So
Pretty good.
everything else is gonna go up.
Yay!
Alright, we did pretty good. We got it done in an hour.
Less than
Is that a
an
new record?
We so rock.
Alright, so we had a Liz Haynes here tonight. She's no longer with us. She made a comment that she must start asking for bribes from her submitters. I wanted to recommend that she should get those in advance. I'm still waiting on about a case of liquor from all of mine combined.
Or you may get lace currency.
Alright, well, I'm gonna sign us off for YouTube, so bye, YouTube! Thanks
Bye,
everyone for watching.
How you